What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the new best explosive grenade ranger build in POE Exiles 2 0.3 update. This build is a brand new version of the newly buffed grenade skills. Instead of standing still and firing arrows, we are now throwing grenades and detonating them with explosive bolts in split seconds. The core gameplay loop revolves around combining explosive shot with explosive grenade and stacking them into a very high speed, no aim screen clearing machine. The clear speed is one of the standout strengths for this build. With the right setup, as you can see, you can achieve full screen clears without needing to even aim. Combine this with decent gear for movement speed and you can hit upwards of 160% movement speed. The key idea here is that you can sprint through the maps throwing out grenades and bolts without ever slowing down, and without suffering the penalties for shooting while moving. On top of it, with a decent investment, we can also one-shot bosses. Explosive grenade in particular will hit like a truck when stacked with the right modifiers and when paired with a rapid shot to preload the extra fire as damage, so you can melt pinnacle bosses in seconds. And thanks to our clever gearing and Ascendancy synergy, you don't need to even worry about the mana management at all. You can simply throw, explode and keep moving. And remember, if you want to check this build, look up the best items, the skill trees and POE building, then check my link in the description. And before we continue, thanks to U4GM. They are a pro website that provides POE2 services like cheap currency, then even to trade all types of quality items and gems and much more. They have also more than 20,000 positive comments on Trustpilot, and this website is really worth a try. So make sure to use my discount code KATE for extra 6% off. So let's take a look at the skill gems. And the build starts with the explosive shot as your main mapping skill. This is the centerpiece of your clearing setup. The way you run it is explosive shot fires projectiles in a wide circular spread, meaning that every pack on your screen gets tagged and detonated instantly. The explosions will chain off each other, and once the Herald of Thunder gets involved, it's just non-stop lightning detonation spreading everywhere. The key to making this feel smooth is the Arjune's medal, which refills bolts automatically without even needing to reload. This one unique turns explosive shot into a seamless, fire and forget skill that you can spam infinitely. Now, while this is ideal for mapping and clearing, it does not always cut for single target bosses, and that's where our second setup comes in. So you want to get another explosive shot, and this time configure it for single target. And this is where the Nova projectiles will come into play. With the right gear, you can swap into the gem setup before a boss encounter, and shift your character from a screen clearing grenadier into a focused artillery platform. If you're still progressing early on and don't yet have the gear to support the Nova projectiles, then you can just stick with the multi-shot 2 or the Pierce 2 before making this switch. Both of these will work fine while mapping until your upgrades will come online. Then explosive grenade is the other half of this equation. This skill provides massive burst damage that you need to nuke bosses or tanky rares. The combo is simple. You throw the grenade, then follow up with the explosive shot, and watch the entire screen get deleted. The synergy between the grenade and the bolt is what gives the build its identity. And then Herald of Thunder is working in the background as a passive source of shock. Every time you detonate enemies with explosive shot or grenade, the Herald Thunder will proc by chaining shock across the maps and adding even more explosions. These constant lightning arcs don't just look flashy, they massively increase your mapping efficiency and add a shock effect for single target bursts. Then on top of it, the called shots will add another layer by auto-casting will take mark every few seconds. This means you're consistently applying shock with the magnitude scaling, by boosting your single target damage and layering in extra explosions during your mapping. You don't have to think about it, it just happens automatically in the background, which works perfectly with our low maintenance build. Then the rapid shot is your pre-prep tool. Before a boss fight, you just spam the rapid shot to charge up the heat, converting it into a huge boost, so you will get 50% of your fire damage as the extra damage for your next explosive grenade. With this combo, you can preload insane amount of burst before engaging, and to make this burst land reliably, you can slot in the flash grenade as your crowd control option. It will stun the boss and keep them locked in place by giving you this free time to drop the big combo without ever worrying about dodging mid-cast. Then next, our passive tree is straightforward but very crucial to unlocking speed and explosiveness of this build. The first decision is to dedicate the grenades to the tree 1 and explosive shot plus the rapid shot to the tree 2. Thanks to the most recent patch that fixed the crossbow weapon tree bug, you can now lock both trees onto a single weapon by checking the box at the top of your crossbow interface. This allows you to seamlessly swap between the grenade skills and the projectile skills without having two weapons. So then, our main path revolves around going and investing into the spray and pray, freedom of the movement and unhindered. These are the most important nodes that transform your build into explosive monster. They remove movement penalties while shooting and stack enormous amount of movement speed. With them, you're able to fire off grenades and bolts while sprinting at a breakneck pace without ever losing movement. This is the foundation of why the build feels so fluid. The main concept of this build is very simple. The faster you move, the more ground you can cover, and the more enemies explode in your wake. These nodes also will get boosted by our helmet, which is called the Constricting Command, which I will explain a bit later in the gear section. Those nodes will give you bonus damage, attack speed and movement speed when surrounded, and with the right setup you can keep those bonuses active almost 24/7. Then next up we have Ascendancy, and first you want to grab the Gathering Winds. This node ramps up your Gale Force stacks, which directly fuels your speed and evasion. It adds that slippery and agile feel that makes the Ranger stand out apart from the other classes. Next, we have Projectile Proximity Specialization. This may sound niche, but in practice, it makes your explosions feel more consistent and lethal. Enemies closer to your grenades and the bolts will take boosted damage, which is perfect for both mapping and single target encounters. It rewards you for diving into the packs and detonating them at a close range, which synergizes beautifully with our playstyle. Then next we take Endless Munitions, that comes third. And this is where the things start to snowball. We get extra projectiles, extra AoE coverage, and even more consistency in clearing. With this node, your explosive shot spreads will become absurdly wide, and you will reach a true full screen clear without having to position carefully. And then finally we want to get the Wind Ward, that caps off the Ascendancy. This defensive layer will add durability to the build, by letting you shrug off incoming projectiles and survive in the maps that would otherwise one-shot us. It pretty much balances out the aggression of the rest of our tree, by giving us confidence that we can push further into the endgame without worrying about being one-shot. Then next we have the Atlas tree, and for the Grenade Deadeye, it's all about maximizing the monster density and encounter reliability. In the current patch, we get a lot of value from the center, and we lean directly into it. The psychology here is to create maps that are consistently full of monsters to detonate, while also generating steady streams of currency and the crafting materials. So we want to start here with the Essence and the Harvest. Both will provide guaranteed encounters and easy crafting fuel, by ensuring that your gear progression never stalls. From there we expand into Strongboxes, Legion and Expedition. These mechanics will add enormous amount of monsters to every map, which directly amplifies the strength of your clear speed and the Herald of Thunder chain explosions. The more enemies on the screen, the more satisfying this build becomes. And don't forget, it's important not to scatter your points across every possible mechanic, but you only want to focus on few. Now let's talk about gear. Your main weapon is the Siege Crossbow. You want to start with a magic base that already has a high increased physical damage, which ideally could be a crucial tier or better. The greater exalts will fill your suffixes, and you can finish it by applying the perfect essence of the haste or the onslaught mod, and the perfect essence of the battle for a +6 roll. Then the helmet is built around Constricting Command. When we get it with a surrounded value of 5, it unlocks all surrounded nodes on the passive tree, which gives us this massive boost to the damage, attack speed and the movement speed. It essentially turns every pack encounter into a personalized buff zone. Currently, the D-Fi 2 on this helmet is bugged and will not work with the mana mod, but once that gets fixed, it will completely eliminate any mana issues. Then the body armor should be the new Corsair base. It comes with a 20% reduction to the penalties for attacking while moving. Then for rings, we should focus on stacking as much life as possible, since that's our primary defensive pull alongside evasion, rarity and added flat elemental damage. Then for amulets, we should prioritize rarity and plus the projectile skills. I personally recommend to use the Devastation Anointment, but this is up to you. Then for boots, we need 35% movement speed. Rich players can chase Essence of Heroes on the boots with Corruption for the traditional sockets, which will allow you to slot the Feral's gems for massive speed bonuses. The belts are all about stacking life and resistances. And then for charms, freeze and stun immunity are essential. And then a Mongoose Chosen is an excellent offensive pick, because it converts a portion of our physical hits into fire, by triggering 30 rage for a short burst of damage whenever it procs. And finally, make sure that your life flask has instant recovery. It's a small detail, but in the hardcore or dangerous maps, it can be the difference between a clear run and a dead screen. And now finally, let's see how to actually play this build. The core rotation is simple but incredibly satisfying. So you enter a map and from the very first pack, you're firing your explosive shot into a wide circle. Entire screens will vanish in a single cast, and Herald of Thunder arcs will proc across anything left behind. Also, you don't need to stop to aim or even slow down, you just sprint forward and everything around you detonates. And then, when you encounter tanky rears, you just drop the explosive grenade, then follow the top immediately with explosive shot, and then watch the enemy disappear in a chain reaction of fire and lightning. And then finally, against bosses, you shift into a more deliberate rotation. So you start with a rapid shot to build the heat and secure that massive 50% fire as the extra damage. Then you throw a flash grenade to stun and lock the boss in a place. And when the window is open, you just unload the explosive grenade, followed by the single target explosive shots from the Nova projectile setup. The result is a devastating burst that can delete bosses in seconds before they have even time to circle through their mechanics.